Good morning. Saturday morning. It is storming. Actually, it's finishing up down here in Atlanta. And got a special edition this Saturday morning. Got Byron here. Go ahead and introduce yourself. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So who are you with and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, Byron Collins, owner of Collins Epic War Games. We started with some World War II games called Spear Point 1943, which were card based, did pretty well, and then kind of morphed over to more of the tabletop side with a long-term project called Polyversal, which was designed by Ken Whitehurst and came alongside Ken and helped develop and really get it refined, and then got some help as well from a great guy with software, Carl Olson, who I think you also met at Adepticon. He was running Downsync, which we're going to publish. But
okay, yeah.
So he did the user interface for Arsenal, which was what really glues everything together for Polyversal. Polyversal is minis agnostic, use anything. It's been around as a project for a long time.
Yeah, you mentioned Adepticon. I've seen Polyversal and met you at some other conventions. Definitely like at Mustard and some of the conventions on the east there, because you're in Virginia. So,
yep.
But yeah, Adepticon, as I was saying, it kind of definitely caught me my eye. You got a cool display table. It's huge. How big is that thing? 8 by 4.
8 by 4.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Big old buildings. And then you guys were running some Starship Troopers demos using Polyverse. I'm like, I got to get in on this. Oh, I want to back up. You mentioned Spearhead. When you said that, I'm like, I think I played that. Mm-hmm. When was that? When was that released?
I released the first version. First was US German set. It was in 2008, actually. It's a while back.
Oh, wow. So you've been doing this for a while. So
or actually,
I know. I
maybe in 2010. Don't quote me. I can't remember now.
It's been a few days ago.
Yeah.
So and I guess, like you said, it's kind of two parts. You have the rules, which is Polyversal, and I really like, and it's designed 6 to 15 millimeter, but you could use whatever. So,
the beauty is, it's just use anything. So everybody's got a lot of miniatures, or at least a lot of the people we know, and they have them from all these different lines from wherever, BattleTech or Epic or in this basic smaller scale. So like this, I like the smaller scale stuff because you just get a bigger city battle feel. Everything's huge these days with like Warhammer and all that stuff. Nothing against those games, but I just like more of a mass combat feel, but also don't bog everything down. Like, just, you got to flow, you got to move quick, and I think Polyversal does a great job at that with the command and control and the different elements that are in the game to make it, make the combat go quick, and stuff like that. So you can really use it for anything you want, and that's kind of the key. And the builder Arsenal lets us create whatever. People are using it for Cold War or World War II or Starship Trooper stuff or modern sci-fi. We have our storyline is more on the sci-fi side, but it's wide open. It's just really limited by your imagination. So it can handle anything you throw at it, as far as, I'd say World War II and post World War II. The design system which is included will cover it all. And so we have no idea even what everybody's doing with it unless they post about it, and seen some wild stuff. And it's really, really cool to have it out there in the wild, and people are enjoying it, having fun with it. We're still really small. I mean, I don't have ad budgets like some of these bigger companies. So we rely on word of mouth and,
Yeah.
small conventions, even big conventions. Biggest one we go to is Adepticon, which is awesome. And that's how we spread the word. But even, for years showing this off, we still come across every show. We come across people that have never heard of us. And that's okay. That's maybe my not doing a good job at marketing, but
Well, maybe that's a good thing. There's new people out there that you're reaching out to. So,
right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. On your Discord, I've seen a lot of guys are doing World War II right now, which is interesting. I have to get out my Claims of War miniatures and do some stuff. I spent basically all day yesterday. Well, started Thursday night and finished off yesterday doing Epic Legion Imperialis. We're going to probably use that to teach probably Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to run a game, and that we had all those guys painted. I said, man, I probably within about easily a day, I can stat some stuff up. And what's cool, and I tried to, I couldn't get an image. Everything was, came up as a PDF, but you can actually, for me, what's cool, you take a picture of your mini that you're using and actually post it on the stat card, I call it. Which adds, especially when it's your minis, to me, this adds that, hey, this is a picture of my mini that I'm using in my game. It's really cool to do. And it's so simple. I don't have any fancy photo programs and all that stuff. I figured out, took me a few times to figure out the best picture to take, the size and where to do that. And then I take the color picture and I put it in Word, switch it to black and white, then save that. And I'm using the black and white, which you probably do for the backside. So, and it's taken me about 30 seconds to do all that and get it posted back to Arsenal. So I'm up to 5 pages in Arsenal of files. So I'm having fun with that. That in itself is fun. But the rules, wow, the charts and I'm glad you have Arsenal because the combinations of what you can do is really, of course, it's not unlimited, but it's unlimited.
There's like, I think we ran the numbers one time, and it's like millions of different combinations if you were to look at all the options. You don't even know. So it's extensive. It's pretty big.
That was what was taking me the longest time is, okay, I've got these guys are armed with las cannons. Now you don't have exactly las cannons, but you have for your vehicles at least a dozen different types of weapons.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out, based on other weapons I've already done, which would be the closest. I mean,
that's the whole goal, is just you figure out what category or bucket that weapon, whatever it is on whatever model, would fit into best, whether it's plasma or railgun or missile, and like for the bugs, we put a bunch of plasma, or we put some chemical spray, or we put, you gotta just think about what that combatant is doing. Is it assault specialty? You may not have any weapons at all, and then it's just you up the assault die when you're statting it out and say, okay, he's not going to do anything from range, but the assault capability is a D10 or D12. So, and that's tweaking the design as you go.
You mentioned the dice, D10, D12. I'm a big fan of the tiered dice system. I've gotten more and more away from games that use a D6 because your variation in a D6, especially if you have modifiers, is so small.
Yeah.
where you use a D4 to D12, which is you can get a huge variation in there. Then if you add modifiers or anything to those dice, and then you're using 3 dice, so you're kind of getting an average die roll in there, which you're still going to have your extremes, all 1s or all 12s. But to me, it really helps to balance a game. And I like the combination of all that. Plus, you're making 1 die roll to see if you hit and your damage. So
if you it's simplified comment. So if you're rolling from it, so all the stats are in the back end of that, right? And it accounts for units that during the game will degrade. They'll take stress. They'll start dropping by a die type. Their effectiveness, which is like their morale. But yeah, single die roll of 3 dice, color coded, and they're color coded. So you easily pick up, okay, I see an orange that's a D10, grab the orange die. Single roll of those 3 dice tells you whether you hit, how much damage you did, and what the effects were in a single roll. There's no save rolls, there's no multiple re-rolls and to figure out damage and all this stuff. So it's very sleek. And then the way it resolves just lets you move quick and get through a lot of stuff that would take you days with other game systems, I would say, or other ways. You could definitely do it other ways, but it just flows quicker and it's a lot of fun. So
yeah. And you were Richmond Open, was that 2 weeks ago roughly?
Yeah, it was over May 3rd. I think we were there. May 2nd. Yeah, and Andy Rucker was there. I posted a video of Andy's.
Yeah, I'll post a link to that video in the notes here. That table was quite impressive.
It was 12 foot by 4, and he had 3 different zones going with an amphibious assault ship and a city section and a suburb section.
It was crazy.
He worked like a year prepping for that and ran the game at night. It was a lot of fun to watch and see people, just
how many people were playing?
I think
people were playing about.
I think he had 6 people. It could handle up to 10, but he had 6 people playing at that game. And
cool. What's the most you've run at a game?
I've run at Adepticon, not this past year, but the year before, on the 8 foot by 4 board. I ran a game for 8 people. I believe it was 8 people, and that was pretty big, and it was fun. I mean, it was a good time. But you can break it up however you want, but you can do teams. You can do, the way the battle groups are set up. You can just give each player a battle group, and they control that group and everything about it. So that's the way I like to do it. And then you can have one player doing air support or artillery, or it really handles multiplayer games really well. And when it's time to activate a force, everybody's rolling, and then that initiative system will figure out for you, okay, the order of the players in that particular turn. So it handles that pretty well, and minimum 2 players, I would say, but then maximum, it still plays pretty well for 8-10 players, so you can do some big games.
The game I played at Adepticon, I was 2 on my side and 3 on the other. First turn, everybody's learning what the heck we're doing and stuff. But after that, I felt like it handled multiple players really well. And that was another bonus to me, because if I run something at my shop or at a convention, I want probably 3 people to the side, to get the most interaction, most people playing. And to me, it was very almost transparent of how many people you're playing. It really didn't matter. Where some games you get more than the one-on-one, and it just bogs down and a lot of downtime for people and all that stuff. So
Well, and the other
Uh,
advantage of the game is it's a game where you can easily go in and out. So if you've got somebody that's got to leave, you don't have to stop the game. You just
yeah.
hand his battle group to somebody else who's still playing, and it doesn't stop the
Oh
action.
yeah.
So that's pretty
Um,
cool about it.
Now you mentioned miniature agnostic. I know when you first did your Kickstarter that you'd partner with some other miniature companies,
Yep.
but now you're working with Death Ray Designs to do
Yeah,
your
that's what
own
we're doing
stuff.
next. Yeah. So we have like 5 battle groups we put together initially with just for people that don't have miniatures in that scale. It was like, or it can be a little overwhelming to go straight to design, right? So it's like, okay, here's some starter sets essentially, and we did 5 battle groups, working with 5 different miniatures companies because we didn't make any of the miniatures. We still don't, and that was kind of to showcase that the system can handle anything. Like we're pulling 5 companies' model lines together in the 6 mil scale range, and then balancing it and making the stat tiles, doing some awesome artwork, and then it's just okay. They're pre-balanced, get them on the table. And so those were our initial battle groups. We're kind of continuing that with our newest partner with this was, as you mentioned, Death Ray Designs, who make Steel Rift, and they do a line of called Solar Shift. So we're working with them. We had those previewed for the first time at Adepticon, where it's 3 new battle groups with tiles made with art, new art from James Messino, who's pro now and big in film and stuff. So he's coming back to work with us, which is awesome. So his portfolio, part of his portfolio was Polyversal that led to his job in film now, and he's working on stuff for like The Walking Dead, Dead City, and some other stuff, doing visual effects and stuff. So the artwork is awesome. So anyway, excited to work with him again. We're doing 3 new battle groups, and then we're also I've been writing to expand kind of the lore side within our own story. I've been working on a novel for the past year, and I'm about 40% done with a novel for Polyversal, which would be cool. And excited to keep progressing on that to help tell the kind of our storyline, which is future Earth-based stuff. It's not 40,000 years in the future. It's maybe 100. So
Right.
it's pretty
Near
cool.
future. Yeah.
Yeah, near future sci-fi. So
That's
gritty,
cool.
dystopian, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's
Well,
what kind of.
and I like the going back to partnering with those established miniature companies. You didn't have to waste your time and energy on the miniatures design, get in production, but you still had something in. I actually got a couple of them, and like it gives me the option. If you wanted to, you could just paint one side red, the other side blue, and get them on the table within probably a day. So it gives you that anymore, people want to buy something and play it. And it gives you that option. And that's cool. And the new miniatures I've seen, especially the Steel Rift miniatures in person, that stuff, that Death Ray design, what they're doing is very nice. I saw what they're doing for you guys. That was great. And like I said, you mentioned the artwork on the tiles. Once again, it goes back to I'd mentioned earlier to see my pictures of my miniatures on the tiles are once again incredible artwork. It just adds to me a little bit to the game instead of having this a plain blank card or a stat sheet or something.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
This adds it's a little more to the game. When do you have a timeline for the new miniatures?
Well, minis are ready. I mean, we're all the stuff has been selected. I would say for each of the 3 battle groups, we're in the middle of artwork creation. So all the art I have to write, commissioning narratives for every art piece, and that's all been submitted to the artist, and he's been working that, and he's working He's sent me 4 drafts right now, but we have 33 pieces of art to get through. So the goal is get through all the art first, which is different than what we did before,
Okay.
and limit, what we have to do development wise. It'll basically be ready to print when we launch for crowdfunding, and that's kind of the goal is
Okay.
get all those stats done, make sure everything's nice and balanced and the way we want it, all the art done, and yeah, Death Ray's already ready to go. So they've been great to work with.
Okay. Cool.
And they would say that they're pulled from Steel Rift Solar Shift, but like for the Steel Rift stuff, we were able to scale them down. They were able to scale them down to make them, fit better with the existing groups that we already had. So the Steel Rift stuff, they sell it as 6 mil. I think it's pretty large compared to what we have, because 6 mil is open to interpretation. It varies quite a bit. So, but we had them scale it down a bit to make it more in line with what we already have on the street. So so that's
I'm having that issue with my Starship Trooper stuff. I think I got stuff that probably would push 4 millimeter, and then I got some stuff. It's almost 15. I'm like, I'm having to. I'm printing some of the stuff. I don't have resin printers, but some of the bigger stuff I can print on my filament printers. But I have a couple guys resin print, and I'm gonna just have them do 1 or 2 miniatures, because even though everybody advertises stuff at 6 mil, I'm having to scale it all over the place. So I think, definitely it's probably worse than 28 mil right now. 28 mil might be anywhere from 25 to 32, but with 6, and I think because it's smaller, it highlights it more. Now I've learned also, especially like for the infantry, once I'm putting 5 on a base, and then you have 5 stands of 5 on a base, I'm learning to get over, hey, there is a little variance in size, because it really doesn't make any difference. Once you get, as you mentioned, the mass battle on the table, it really doesn't, it's not going to make the difference. Then you just say, okay, this is basic infantry. These guys are in power armor. That's the reason they're bigger.
And a stand is a stand.
So
at the squad level.
I think you can get around. I was a little concerned that the 6 mil is all over the place, but like I said, I'm getting over that, and I am rescaling some stuff. Usually, like you mentioned, scaling it down. I'm finding probably a lot of it's more 8-10 mil, so I'm scaling it down, but I'm making it work, and that's part of the fun too. Is I'm kind of doing it a little backwards with the bugs. Is I know what I want to do, and then I'm going out there trying to find the miniature to make it happen. I got to find out. You have scorpion bugs, don't you?
I do. The GM found all those. I don't even know the sources.
We'll have to talk offline, because that's about the only thing I hadn't found. Which, once again, is cool about your system, is whether you have the miniatures and you can fit the miniatures into stats, or you got a vision for, I want this whatever, a tank or stuff, and I know what I want it to do. And then with the amount of STLs or just even metal miniatures out there, you can find a miniature that will fit that stat. So I'm really, once again, I've like I said, I stayed up probably till 2 o'clock in the morning last night doing stats and stuff, just because I said, okay, this last one, wait a minute, I got another thought. I want to keep doing it. So
it's fun to just design. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I feel like I'm a game designer. No, but no, you do kind of have that feel, honestly, as a player. And once again, you can do it as simple. I can buy your stuff that's already statted out, and I got these really cool, pretty tiles. Or you can go, once again, dive in the deep end and start with nothing and design your own army, if you will.
You can start with the rule book or rule set. We sell them even on War Game Vault, but the base sets that we stock, like your store is stocking, we don't have any miniatures in there. It's because you don't need them. You can use your existing collection. That's what it's meant for. And just, you've got this flexible, it's a tool. I mean, it's a rule set, but it's a design tool included that's unlimited in what you can do. And so once people get that and really get into the, the mode of, hey, I can do anything, it unlocks so much potential for whatever gaming you want. And, I love seeing that. I know Ken loves seeing that, and, seeing that kind of idea come to life. And it's taken a long time to make it where it works, because how do you handle everything? I mean, it's hard, but it's a good system. It's done well. Once people get into it and play it, they love it. We got an Origins Award nomination for Best Miniatures Game, which was awesome. Like in 23, we didn't win it, but it's okay just to get nominated in the top 5 among every minis game released that year. Is like, wow, okay, cool.
Well, you came out with this in what, 2018?
We did a Kickstarter a while back, and then God, we hit every possible snag a Kickstarter could hit, unfortunately. And then and then we got it out though. We were persistent, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. So we got it out, and we initially released it electronically, and then we finished up the physical everything. We had supplier issues. We had working with all these companies was not easy. Like 5, 6, 7 companies at the same time. Any one of them that's late is going to delay the whole thing. So that's what happened.
Like herding cats there.
Yeah, but we got it out. We got the minis done. We got the production done. We had released the minis, and then and COVID hit, supply chain. Then it was like,
that's about time you got up to speed was when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And then so basically you're almost, I don't say a relaunch, but once again, I've talked to many independent guys that you were starting to do the conventions and stuff. COVID hits, and then COVID was around long enough. Because I tell people, you got to get out there, you got to do it, you got to do it. People's got to see it 3 or 4 times on the table at conventions before they even able to look at it. That's cool, but hey, who's playing and all this stuff? So I think, you're from basically restarting. So, but it looked like you're, and sounds like the last 2 years, especially use kind of Adepticon as a litmus test, that you're getting back on track with it, and a lot of interest.
And we also were able to get picked up into distribution, which was huge, because it's very hard in the climate today, where there's just distributors get 2,000 games a month to look at. That's what we've heard. And to be able to pitch this and show it to Quartermaster Direct is who picked us up, and they're a consolidator, but they then can pitch to distributors, and so it got picked up in the US and Canada in the distribution line. So that's awesome, and that's huge to get it further out there in the stores. And we also work direct, like we've worked with you, but that's huge too.
Right.
If you get some stores behind it, like you and others, then it makes a big difference. So
as we're talking, you're in Virginia. Yeah, you can hit the East Coast, but you have a real job. You just can't, take off and do all this stuff. So, how do you hit, even, you go to Adepticon, that's kind of an exception, but how do you hit all these conventions in the Midwest, the South, the West Coast? You can't. And that's where, I know distributors do help out to get get that visibility and stuff out there. But like I said, being an independent guy, I feel your pain when you're trying to get a game out there. And you got some probably there on the East Coast and Northeast, several guys playing your game, but how do you get it outside of that? I mean, you do Facebook, you do Discord, you do all this stuff, but I know gamers. I've had my store for over 9 years now, and even with the in store, trying to get people to bring your game in, it's cool, all this stuff. I go back to they want to see it played 2, 3, 4 times before they will invest in it. So,
and that's fair. I get it. Yeah, you just got to be visible and be out there and
have to stay out there. So, Anyway, so what is your next convention?
Well, we're kind of up in the air on Nova Open. I'm hoping it'll come through for us to be able to go. But otherwise, we'll be at the local shows here in Williamsburg. There's one in October called Call to Arms, which is a local small group. And we go hang out there. And we know all the people there, and they're great guys. And it's across the town for us. So we'll be there for sure in October. And then another one in Williamsburg early next year is the Williamsburg Muster. So we like the local shows. Smaller ones are easier to get to. Adepticon, we've already secured our spot for next year in Wisconsin. Long drive, but it's and we have a lot. So otherwise we'll see.
Well, once again, kind of my goal. A couple of games I'm pushing right now from independent gamers. I do a lot of conventions in Florida. I will be going to Texas a couple times. So definitely, hopefully, can run a game or two.
Sweet.
For you there. And but yeah, I said, I've seen you several times, and I looked and I think it was Mustard, not this past year, but a year ago, that I had kind of got interested in your stuff. And like I said, it takes, even for me, seeing something 2, 3 times before, I'll want to buy into it, and especially from a shop perspective. But no, hopefully, I once again, I have all these checks, and I tell you right now, you're probably 9 out of 10 boxes checked of stuff. And I guess I have more boxes the older I get that, hey, I like this, I don't like that. And, but, the game system, the design system, all that stuff is scratching all my itches right now. So, is there anything else out there you want to talk about or mention, or where you're going with all this?
It's just, I think you nailed it. I mean, we're small, we're different. That's a big thing, is we're not doing the same thing everybody else is doing. And that's one thing I've never done is just,
no, you're not,
rubber stamp a business model or whatever. It's quite different. And so it's more about the system, less about selling miniatures. Like I said, we don't make the miniatures at all, so I don't really care if you get them. If you do, it's great. It's a quick start, but the intent is you get the system, you love the rule set, and you've got something you can play with everything. In Arsenal, that rule, the design tool is completely free, and there's no subscription, there's no hidden cost there other than your internet access if you're going to print stuff out. But it's just that's the intent, is it's have fun with it. Go do what you want, have fun. And we appreciate people posting about it, because that helps us with spreading word about the game. If you like it, hey, post some pictures of games in progress. We love to see it. I like to see stuff like Andy's game, or if you're going to run some Starship Troopers games, they post them up there and we'll share them.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be posting pictures, and your pictures posted. It'll motivate me to finish my Starship Trooper stuff. And my last thing is, I played in your Starship Trooper game. you got your miniatures, you got your stats and stuff. I'm using yours as stuff as a baseline, but my stuff's going to be a little different. Once again, this goes back to I don't have to take something you've done and go, well, I like this, but man, I wish I could change this. And instead of making this a house rule or something, I just change it. I change the stat. I may change, use a different model, all that. That's totally once fine. Again, it goes back to it's awesome to be able to do that. And it's great. So, well, we've been 36 minutes. Wow. Been chatting for a while. I appreciate your time this morning. And
absolutely. Thank you.
It's not raining now. My dogs are getting antsy. They want to, do I got to do I can't mention the word, but the W with them or they'll drive me crazy. So, yeah.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate
Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll get some pictures out there, some stuff. Like I said, I'm using the Legion and Puralis stuff. So, but anyway, thanks for your time and enjoyed talking to you. And we'll talk some more.
Yeah, anytime.
Down the road. So,
and then, appreciate you guys picking up the game from your store. Definitely. Thanks a lot for that as well. Yeah.
So, you bet. You got a great product. So, well, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Alan. You too. Take care.